Hello, everyone, and welcome to our first Cape Cod Baseball League Major League Baseball playoff analysis. I'm Josh Schwam, joined by Ethan Kagno, and we're going to break down how the CCBL alumni have been doing in the first few rounds of the MLB Playoffs, wildcard game, and division series. We were going to do one after the wildcard game, but decided to hold off and wait till after the division series to combine the two rounds. The Cape Cod alumni have been extremely active in these first few rounds of the MLB Playoffs. Everything from Chris Taylor's walk-off home run to Kyle Schwarber hitting a home run that probably ended up being the pivotal home run in the American League wild card game. So we're going to get right into it. We're going to make this fairly conversational, fairly relaxed, and let's get right into it. Ethan, starting with the American League wild card game, I know it's your favorite thing in the world to talk about with me. The Boston Red Sox defeated the New York Yankees, and there were a lot of Cape League alumni playing a pivotal role in that game. Let's start with the Yankees because there weren't as many Cape League alums on that squad, but Aaron Judge on the 2012 Brewster Whitecaps had a huge performance for New York.
Right. Aaron Judge was clearly the one who stood out for the New York Yankees, going 1 for 4, his infield single in the 5th inning, following a massive Anthony Rizzo home run to make it 3-1 at the time. It was enough to take out Boston's Nate Eovaldi after a great start, 8 strikeout performance. However, Judge was later nabbed out at home plate, after third base coach Phil Nevin sent him home on a Giancarlo Stanton wall ball single. And that one really hurt the Yankees' chances after that. The momentum was kind of just cut. But all in all, his regular season was terrific in terms of looking at, his past seasons. It could have been his best one since his rookie year, where he took home Rookie of the Year honors. His 287, 373, 544 slash line was very solid. His 39 homers ranked tied for 5th in the American League with 98 RBIs as well. And he also ranked 8th in the AL in WAR with 5.9. The interesting stat I'd like to bring up is the win probability added. He ranked 2nd in the American League, only 2nd to Shohei Ohtani, who's a possible MVP frontrunner. His WPA was 5.1. So all in all, it was a tough one game playoff game for the New York Yankees. However, Aaron Judge did play pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, Judge was going to be such an important piece for New York in that game, right? He's one of their best players. And like you said, he had his best year since 2017, where he was a front runner for MVP with Jose Altuve. So that's a pretty important piece for New York. And you could say he cost them by getting cut down at the plate. You could also argue that he should not have been sent by Phil Nevin, but he took Nate Eovaldi out of that game. And Eovaldi had been dominant. I mean, shutting down a lineup that was lethal through the whole season, and Judge was the one to take him out to put the nail in the coffin. So if New York was going to win that game, it was going to be because of Aaron Judge, and he did a lot for the Yankees in that situation. On the other side, Boston, I mean, you can't say enough about their Cape League alumni. Kyle Schwarber, 2012 Wareham Gateman, went 1 for 3 with a solo shot off Garrett Cole in the 3rd. The Yankees paid Garrett Cole a lot of money, Ethan, $324 million, as you like to remind me, to be in that situation. And Kyle Schwarber made sure that the Yankees did not get their money's worth out of that game. Schwarber was great, went 1 for 3 in the game, and he was moved to Boston from Washington at the trade deadline. For a minor leaguer, he was seen as a trade piece and has been awesome for Boston all year. Can you elaborate on how great he's been for the Red Sox?
Yeah, no, he's been absolutely fantastic. Easily one of the best pickups at the trade deadline. The Red Sox were going after Anthony Rizzo. That was confirmed. They prefer him over Kyle Schwarber. But after the Yankees swooped in, seemingly getting their man to make a deep playoff run, Kyle Schwarber was terrific for the Red Sox. Right before being traded to the Red Sox, his 12 home runs in 10 games throughout June, it tied the MLB modern-day record for most home runs hit over any 10-game span. Truly just a great performance all around from Schwarber. And he continued doing that in the wild card. And then as we saw in the ALDS against Tampa Bay, Schwarber hit .313, which included a leadoff home run in Game 3 of the ALDS off a hanging Drew Rasmussen curveball in the bottom of the 1st inning. He's been a versatile piece for the Red Sox as well, learning to play first base, which has been, kind of choppy at times, but definitely improving on that. And his ability to bat leadoff, which in my mind, I didn't think should have happened. I think Kike Hernandez was the better leadoff man, obviously proving me wrong. And, luckily I got to be at that wild card game and see Kyle Schwarber in person hit that home run 435 feet to right center. It was crazy. The atmosphere was electric. And as you said, New York's $324 million man only lasted 2+ innings.
Yeah, I'm very thankful that I was not at that wild card game because I was enough of an emotional wreck watching the game from Illinois. You talk about Schwarber being such a pivotal piece for the Red Sox. He obviously had that huge game in the wild card game, but in the division series too, you said it. He had a leadoff home run in the third inning of game 3, and that was a big game. That's a 1-1 series at the time, and in only a best of 5, you need your best players to step up, and Schwarber did. He put the Red Sox in front, and they never looked back, and they went on to win the series. So that's a huge, huge performance by Kyle Schwarber in that, both the wild card game and the division series. How do you feel he goes for the Red Sox going forward? Is he going to be just as important in the championship series against Houston?
Yeah, he's going to be just as important. He's been one of the hottest players. Him and Kike Hernandez, the whole top half of that lineup has been nothing but producing. Even the bottom half with Christian Vasquez having that big walk-off homer. So yeah, Kyle Schwarber will definitely be a key piece moving forward. And whether it's batting leadoff or batting second, playing DH or playing first, or even out the outfield if necessary, he'll be a huge piece moving forward.
You talk about all that versatility, right? Playing first, playing different positions. That's something you may have learned in the Cape League, right? I mean, there's so many guys moving in and out throughout the season that you got to learn to be flexible. And baseball fans in Massachusetts are used to seeing that from Kyle Schwarber on Cape Cod back in Wareham in 2012, and now doing really well for the Boston Red Sox, as much as it hurts the Yankee fan in me to see. We'll move on now to the team that Boston beat in the division series. Obviously, they were the favorites going in, the Tampa Bay Rays. They didn't have as much of a Cape League presence as other teams, but Jordan Luplow of the 2013 Orleans Firebirds, hit a big grand slam in that game, and that was I was feeling pretty good about where Tampa was in that moment, being having an allegiance in that series. And then everything kind of changed. That was the big offensive explosion for the Red Sox. But can you talk about Luplow and what he's been doing for what he did for Tampa throughout that series?
Yeah, during the regular season, Luplow was all right, more of a rotational piece. But in the first inning of Game 2, the 5-run first inning for Tampa, it seemed like it was going to be over at that point. Getting up 5-0, and the Red Sox slowly battled back, ended up winning that game 14-6. They were hitting home runs left and right. But yeah, the grand slam was huge, and he ended up having a double later in the series to finish up 2 for 8. Even though they lost that Game 4, which would be the end of their season, 100 wins, which is nothing to be sad about. But at the end of the day, the Red Sox just prevailed, and Luplow is still going to be a good piece for that Rays team next year and beyond.
Someone who had an impact in that series and in the wild card game against the Yankees was Garrett Whitlock of the 2016 Chatham Anglers. I might have briefly skipped over him in our notes going towards the division series, but he was big in that wild card game too. He was probably played a little bit more of an important role in the division series, but he got through the heart of the Yankee order in the wild card game there, right?
Yeah, no, he's been absolutely amazing. I've loved watching him pitch ever since the Red Sox picked him up out of that Rule 5 draft, which the Yankees had. He was in their minor league system for the Trenton Thunder, and they could have protected him. They ended up going with Brooks Kriske instead. So a little tough, being a Yankees fan, to have Garrett Whitlock essentially end your season. But yeah, he didn't pitch too much in the wild card game against New York. He came in the 9th inning, got Aaron Judge to ground out. He actually let up a line drive shot. Giancarlo Stanton wrapped it around the pesky pole. However, the next 4 pitches, he retired 2 Yankees, and that was good enough to clinch the ALDS. And then fast forwarding to the series against Tampa, he faced 11 batters in 3 1/3 inning. He picked up the win in Game 4, shutting down the Rays season. As I said before, just, being a guy who wasn't really going to be relied upon too much this season as a rookie, being the Rule 5 draft guy in 2020, he's turned into the Red Sox high leverage reliever. He's been tremendous all season long, and he'll continue to be an integral part of the Red Sox bullpen moving forward in the ALCS and hopefully the World Series.
Yeah, you talk about the Garrett Whitlock versus Brooks Kriske situation. People may remember over the summer on a Cape League off day, you and I were at Fenway, sitting relatively close in that ballpark. Brooks Kriske let up an MLB record 4 wild pitches in the 10th inning and Boston came back twice in that game and went to go win. It was on a Thursday in late July. I'd have to check the exact date, but I would say the Red Sox won that situation. Christie was demoted the next day, called up at the end of September for a couple days, but did not make an appearance. And Garrett Whitlock ended the New York Yankees season, a Cape League alumni, doing big things in the playoffs. So good for the Cape, but maybe not so great for the Yankees. We'll move on now to the other side of the bracket in the American League Division Series. This one, no wildcard teams. This was straight up Chicago and Houston. There were not a ton of Cape Leaguers featured in this series, but the ones that were there made a huge impact. Yasmani Grandal on the 2008 Brewster Whitecaps had a huge series. He set, in the regular season too, he was dominant. He set career highs in OBP at 420, slugging at 520, OPS at 939, and his OPS plus was 150. The league average is 100. That's an exceptional season for Yasmani Grandal. Even though they lost the series, can you touch on how much he meant for that White Sox team?
Yeah, for sure. Throughout the regular season, his batting average was nothing great, maybe average at best. But yeah, as you said, touched upon, his OPS was great. His OPS plus was even better. And he had a successful season with Chicago, and it was a main piece not just in the ALDS, but in the regular season as well. He led the White Sox in Game 3 after being down 5-1 in the third inning with a 2-run shot off Astros pitcher Luis Garcia to cut the deficit to only 2. Later on in the bottom half of the fourth inning, the former Whitecap knocked in an 8th run on a fielder's choice en route to a 12-6 win for the Chicago White Sox in order to force a Game 4. Ultimately, they did not win the series as Houston cruised in the last game. I believe it was 10-1. But a terrific performance from Yasmani Grandal all around this season.
Yeah, all you can do in these situations is give your team a chance. And that's exactly what Yasmani Grandal did. I mean, the White Sox were 93-69. They were great all year. He hit in the heart of that lineup for one of the best offenses in baseball, not just the American League. And he gave them a chance. He forced the Game 4, but unfortunately they could not get the job done. Moving over to the Houston Astros, Ryan Stanek on the 2011 Born Braves, our first Born Braves to make an appearance in this recap analysis. He came up huge when called upon in that series. He was credited with the win in Game 2 after striking out a pair, and he came in for another inning in Game 3, and he sat down Yasmani Grandal, so Cape League on Cape League crime, and Eloy Jimenez. He was fantastic throughout this entire series, yeah?
Yeah, totally. And then he went on in Game 4 to throw 4 more pitches to record an out. I believe it was just matchup based. But yeah, the 10-1 victory, like I said before, to clinch a spot in the ALCS, where they'll take on the Boston Red Sox. And this will be the third playoff meeting between the two franchises in the past 5 seasons. So a little rivalry brewing right here. I know as a Yankees fan, it can't be that exciting to watch both of these teams who have beat you in the past playoffs go at it. But it'll definitely be a great series nonetheless.
Well, I'm one step ahead of you because I haven't watched a pitch of American League Baseball since I turned off my TV and went for a drive after the Yankee Red Sox game. I mean, but going back to that series, pitching on 3 straight days, getting the win in one of those situations, and getting the out when called upon in a matchup in Game 4 is so pivotal and so crucial to a team's success when they're burning bullpen pieces for singular outs like they do in the playoffs. Not as much in the regular season. So that's a huge performance by Ryan Stanek, 2011 Born Braves. We'll move over to the National League now, and we'll talk about the wild card game first. Los Angeles and St. Louis. This game was just Whitey Red Sox filled. I mean, the Red Sox keep following us wherever we go. It seems to be my bad luck. But there were 4 prominent Cape Leaguers in this game, all of whom played on YD. The most notable was Chris Taylor on the 2011 edition of the Red Sox. He hit a walk-off homer in the bottom of the 9th to propel the Dodgers to the National League Division Series. He'd been limited in the month before, the month of September, with a neck injury. So he actually entered the game in the 7th inning as part of a double switch. He took a 2-1 hanging slider and belted it, and that was the series. He's been a crucial bench piece for the Dodgers in September. He played in 148 games this season, despite that neck injury. But he hit 254 with 20 home runs, 73 RBI, and a career-high 63 walks. So that's working through at-bats, knowing your role and excelling in that role, especially when he was injured. Chris Taylor was phenomenal. And I mean, watching that game, right, was incredible to see what he did at the end there.
Yeah, no kidding. I wasn't watching that much NLDS action, excuse me. or wild card for that matter. But Chris Taylor has been one of those players I feel like year in, year out, he's just been very reliable for the LA Dodgers. Going back to their last championship win, he can play many positions. He's been a decent hitter. As you mentioned, the 73 RBIs and the career high in walks is huge. So he'll be a big part going forward as well.
Yeah, you were too locked into your American League success. I can't say I blame you, but I was locked into the National League to get my fix of playoff baseball. Excuse me. Another prominent Whitey Red Sox in that series was Joe Kelly. He entered the game, in the wild card game, not the series. He entered the game as a reliever, and he pitched 0.2 of an inning, but he forced Nolan Arenado into a forced play at second, and Dylan Carlson struck out swinging. That's the heart of the order for the St. Louis Cardinals. And in a close game like that, 1-1 at that point, you can't deny the importance of what Joe Kelly did. How important is he going forward for the Dodgers?
Well, let me tell you, this guy is electric. The energy he brings to the mound, to the clubhouse, it's absolutely great to watch. Going back to his days in Boston, the Joe Kelly Fight Club against Tyler Austin and the New York Yankees. He won that fight for sure.
Yeah, he did, unfortunately.
However, Joe Kelly is just another one of those guys in the bullpen where he can throw really hard. He's got some off-speed stuff. And he's just fun to watch. He's quite the character. But going forward for the Dodgers, he's going to be an important piece, just like all the other bullpen guys. I feel like in tonight's game, the Dodgers and Giants, game 5, it's winner take all. We could see some more Joe Kelly in this one.
Yeah, I mean, I asked you about Joe Kelly because of his impact with the Red Sox, and he definitely comes with a little bit of energy, and that's something that is so important for our team. And he's good on the mound. So the 2008 YD Red Sox alum doing really well. The last Dodger and Red Sox alum to play in that series was Justin Turner. Now, people this is overdone by Chris Taylor's walk-off homer, but Justin Turner tied the game in the 4th. And that was on a solo home run, and it stayed that way until Chris Taylor homered to walk it off. That's a huge, huge effort by Justin Turner, even though it was his only hit. He played in 151 games during the regular season, hit 278 with 27 homers and 87 RBI. I mean, that is a prime hitter for this Dodger team and a Cape League alum. What do you think about Turner's performance so far in the playoffs?
I mean, you got to fear the beard, right? He's just tremendous to watch. I feel like he just doesn't age. He's been pretty consistent over the last few years in terms of batting average and offensive production. Just like Chris Taylor, he's going to be a key piece going forward. He may not be the star of the team. They got Mookie Betts and Max Scherzer, Trey Turner. But, Justin Turner will be a great role piece going forward.
Yep. And then on the other side in St. Louis, like I said, this is the YD Red Sox show. Tommy Edman on the 2015 team went 3 for 5 with 2 stolen bases and scored the only Cardinal run of the game in the first inning. That's putting your team in the best chance to win, going 3 for 5, swiping 2 bags. I mean, he did everything he could, and they were only able to put up that 1 run. But you can't deny the importance of what Tommy Edman did in that game and all season. He played in 159 games. He was in the heart of the Cardinal order, 641 at-bats with a slash line of 262, 308, and 387. I mean, that's as good as you could get from just a regular player, an everyday player, and he did everything he could in that wild card game for St. Louis.
Yeah, no, he really did. The whole St. Louis team at the end of the season, they caught fire. That big win streak. Many people thought that maybe it would be San Diego, maybe the Phillies even. But at the end of the day, St. Louis came in hot. They were a team that I feel like the Dodgers may not have wanted to play in the wild card. The Dodgers had a great season. 106 wins, was it? Correct me if I'm wrong. Going up against a red hot team like St. Louis and, getting the win, but, St. Louis had a great season after all.
106 wins, and you get to play 1 game for your chance to advance. The Cardinals won 90, and that was thanks to a 17-game winning streak in the month of September. So you got to give a lot of credit to the Dodgers for being persistent in getting to that National League Division Series. Moving on to the National League Division Series, this was a matchup of the 2 best teams in baseball and probably should have been, in a perfect world, the World Series. San Francisco and Los Angeles. We talked a lot about the Dodgers already in the wild card game. The three names that we mentioned, Chris Taylor, Joe Kelly, and Justin Turner, all played pivotal roles. But someone who we didn't talk about in the wild card game because he did not play was Walker Buehler on YD 2014. He pitched game 4 on short rest after starting game 1. He went 4 1/3 innings with 1 earned run. That was a huge performance for the Dodgers and ended up being one of the reasons they were able to win the series. They forced that game 5 after Buehler got them through 4 1/3 in game 1. And like I said, all three that we talked about before in the wild card game, Chris Taylor, Joe Kelly, and Justin Turner, all of them on YD at some point in their life played a huge impact in that series. Moving on to the Giants, they were much more of a Cape-heavy team and probably the Cape-heaviest team, not just in the playoffs, but in baseball. I want to start with, in Game 4, their entire lineup was Cape League alumni. I'm just going to read it off to you. Tommy LaStella started at second base. Darren Ruff was at first. Brandon Crawford was the shortstop batting third. Buster Posey caught and batted fourth. Chris Bryant in right. Lamonte Wade Jr., who we're going to get to, played a huge role throughout the Giants' regular season, was in left field. Evan Longoria was at third. Michael Yastrzemski was in center field batting ninth. He did bat eighth. American League guy talking. And Anthony Descalfani pitched and batted ninth. So that's huge for the Cape League. All 9 starters in that Game 4 for the Giants were Cape League alumni. The last series in the National League was Atlanta versus Milwaukee. Again, there were not heavy amounts of Cape League alumni, but the ones that were there made a huge impact on the series. Corbin Burns has to be mentioned as one of the stars of the show. The 2015 Orleans Firebird made his first career postseason appearance, and he did not disappoint for Milwaukee. He was in trouble early. He put runners on the corners in the first inning, but he got out of that, and Atlanta did not have a runner in scoring position again for the rest of the game. Burns finished the night with 6 scoreless innings and 6 strikeouts. He's a prime candidate for the National League Cy Young. What he did in the regular season was phenomenal. In his 4th year in the league, he went 11-5 with a 2.43 ERA in 167 innings over 28 starts. He had 234 strikeouts and a K-to-walk ratio of 4.8. That's outstanding, and he got the job done big time for Milwaukee in that first round.
Yeah, Corbin Burns as well as Brandon Woodruff, 2 guys who could win the Cy Young this year. The whole pitching staff for the Brewers was great this year. Obviously, going to the bullpen, most notably, you had Josh Hader, you had Devin Williams. Unfortunately, Devin Williams got hurt at the end of the year, wasn't able to pitch at all, I don't think, in the series. But yeah, the Brewers pitching staff is definitely something that it was great all year, and even next year should be just as good, if not better. And as you mentioned, yeah, Corbin Burns with the 2.43 ERA, 234 Ks, just great stuff from Corbin Burns.
Yeah, Burns, Woodruff on Harwich 2012, and Eric Lawler, Orleans 2015, combined for 17 innings and just 4 earned runs in their appearances throughout that series. That's impeccable stuff by 3 Cape Leaguers in the bullpen there for Milwaukee. And as we've talked about already in this conversation, like, bullpen pitching is the difference in these playoff rounds. There's not much that separates these teams, and one of those things is the bullpen. So huge performances by those 3 Milwaukee pitchers. I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit, and we've talked about all these prominent Cape Leaguers, how much they mean to their teams. Is there one in particular that you think is going to have an extra important impact in the championship series?
Are we talking just Milwaukee or in the National League?
I was talking in general. We've run through the wild card games. We've run through the division series. What do you think about one Cape Leaguer who's really catching your eye so far and is going to make a huge impact in the championship series?
Well, one that we haven't talked about is Chris Sale. Now, Chris Sale got lit up, 30 pitches, did not pitch well at all in his one outing. However, going forward, he seems a little healthier. A bounce back is definitely in the books, and he'll be super important against a Houston Astros lineup that has beat him around in the past, in the playoffs as well, when they went on to win the World Series that year. But yeah, getting Chris Sale back fully healthy and having him pitch is going to be huge for the Red Sox success.
Yep, Chris Sale on YD 2009. I mean, that's one of the best pitchers in baseball, and someone who a lot of people might forget that he's even back because he only pitched, like you said, those 30 pitches against Tampa. But he is a lethal weapon, and if he gets himself right, I mean, he is a huge huge asset for the Red Sox. I was also going to go with the Red Sox, as much as it pains me to say. We talked about the versatility early. We talked about how coming in, midway through the season was difficult for Kyle Schwarber. And you got to remember, Boston was not picked to be in this situation at the start of the year. They were not picked to even be a playoff team by most pundits. So to bring someone in the middle of the year and to have the success that they're having right now, I mean, it speaks volumes about what Kyle Schwarber has done. And I think for the Red Sox to beat Houston, who are so loaded, top to bottom, we talked about their Cape League presence, while not as strong in numbers, is just as strong in impact. And Kyle Schwarber is going to have to be huge for Boston in order to win the American League pennant, as horrible and awful as that sounds. So I think that's all we have for the division series. Ethan, is there any last thoughts you want to add before we get out of here?
No, I will. I mean, if there is one thing, it's definitely that these two ALCS and the NLCS are not going to disappoint. Four of the hardest teams in baseball are going to be at it, and the World Series won't be a letdown either. So going forward, all these Cape Leaguers, the former Cape Leaguers that is, should have a pretty predominant role in the upcoming series. And go Red Sox.
Yeah, I can't endorse the last part of what you said, but no matter if they're Cape Leaguers or not, I mean, these are going to be phenomenal championship series. These teams are so deserving of being where they are, and we should cheer on the Cape League alums, despite the fact that for me, I'd rather have them cancel the American League Championship Series than see a winner. But that's all we'll have for today. We'll be back after the Championship Series and the World Series with the best of the Cape League alums and a little more analysis for you. But for Ethan Kagno, I'm Josh Schwam. Thank you for listening to our 2021 MLB Playoffs CCBL analysis.